Frank is a single father who lives with his son Obina. They were so close that they can practically be called best friends. They did almost everything together and find comfort in each other's company. Their priority was each other and they loved and cared for each other so much. 14 months later, Frank got married to Grace. He loved Grace so much, but Obina seems to be uncomfortable with the idea of his dad having a wife. On a particular evening when they were having dinner, Frank brought up the discussion of how new generation had the opportunity to travel and explore at an early age, unlike his generation. Grace went ahead to list the amount of training and acquisition she got when she was younger. She started advising Obina to do the same and how it can be relevant to him. Obina then told her to stay out of his business and shut her up because he was talking to his father and not her. Frank did not tolerate his son's rude behavior and told him to apologize immediately. Obina refused to apologize and walked out of the table. Even though Grace was trying to stop him in every way she could, Frank followed him upstairs to his room and slapped him for being so disrespectful. After that incident, Obina traveled to see his cousin in Accra for 2 months, and when he was coming back to Nigeria, Grace asked Frank if things would be okay since they haven't resolved the last issue from the last incident, and Frank assured her that things would be fine. Frank went to pick him from the airport when he arrived, and throughout the drive home, Obina ignored his father as they drove home. Grace came out to welcome them when they got back, and she also prepared a welcome bag decor for Obina in his bedroom, but Obina left and ignored them outside. When he came upstairs and saw the decor, it shattered everything. Grace was sad when she saw what Obina did to what she spent so much time to make, and Frank apologized on his behalf. Grace further expressed her annoyance why Frank couldn't talk to Obina about what he did. Frank apologized and said he was going to talk to him but was not going to pick a fight with his son immediately after his trip. Obina didn't come down for dinner that night, and Frank took his food upstairs to him, and once again, he didn't say anything to his father. Frank apologized to Grace again before they went to bed. The next morning, Grace tried to be of a better spirit and be cordial to Obina, but Obina was still acting rude. Frank went upstairs to have a word with Obina about how he has been acting of late, and Obina said it would be okay if only he said he was sorry, which Frank took as a joke. Frank told him to get up and come out with him for a drink and stop sulking alone in the room. They went out for a drink and had a talk about their issues. Obina opened up to his father that they were so close before he got married to Grace and was just being jealous of how Frank's attention is being shifted from him to her. Frank assured him that they will always be close and that he loved the both of them very much. Frank apologized to Obina, and even though Obina thought he was dreaming that his father could apologize to him, they ended the conflict between them and they reconciled. Grace's expected guest came to visit them, who was Grace's friend daughter Muna. She came to spend her holiday with them and also complete her research. Obina and Muna bumped into each other in the kitchen. Obina was surprised to see Muna but not angry. They introduced themselves to each other and Muna said she would see him at dinner. That evening, Obina came down for dinner for the first time in 2 weeks since he arrived from his trip, and Grace was shocked. She was glad he was downstairs for dinner, and she started telling Muna how Obina was an international relations graduate and how she would like for him to get his master's, but he seems not to be interested in getting his master's but instead has the interest in becoming a model or an actor. Obina felt that Grace was talking too much and he stood up and walked out of the table. Grace brought the matter up with Frank if she was actually talking too much, and he told her to always read the room even though her intentions were pure. Obina and Muna were becoming close friends by the day, to the extent that Obina refused when his friend requested for Muna's number. They enjoyed each other's company by the day, and Frank seems to notice it too. The issue between Obina and Grace became more heated by the day because Obina always made it clear that his business was not her business and always shut her up no matter how Grace tried. Every little thing that Grace did in a good cause to Obina seems to be a problem to him, that Frank has to tell her to learn to be on her own sometimes and respect people's space and decisions and not try to control things on how she wants it to be. Grace was devastated, but she was still determined to make Obina like her so they can live peacefully as a family. Obina went to see Obina and pleaded with him to come back home because he had left the house because of the whole issue. Grace also saw Obina privately and poured out her heart to him, asking him if he was doing anything wrong by being nice to him and why he wasn't reciprocating it. Obina promised Muna that he would try to come back home, and he used the opportunity to ask her out, which she said yes. Obina came back home and apologized to Grace for his behavior so far, that he was only being jealous because he felt his best friend was taken from him. He apologized to his father too for giving him a hard time all this while, and Frank said that as much as he thinks of him as his best friend, he is also his father and not everything he does will please him. They all reconciled as a family and they were off to a great start. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment and let us know your thoughts on the movie. Also like, subscribe and hit the notification bell to get more movie reviews from us. Bye.